As you all know, I worked for the Department of Corrections for a lot of years, and every year when one of these budget problems come up, I always stand up and I speak for the Department of Corrections. The continued cuts are devastating to not only our correctional officers and correctional staff, but also our correctional inmates. I don't remember any judge ever sentencing someone to go to the prison to be beaten on a daily basis. But that's what's happening because we don't have the staff to protect them properly. On my iPad thing here, I've got a picture of a young correctional officer who was beaten severely on October 14th. His name's Jake Bowenkamp. Keep that name in your mind, because at one time we might hear that we're burying Jake for the same thing. He could have very well been killed, and all needlessly, and all in the name of saving a few bucks. On October 18th of 2017, a good friend of mine that I worked with for several years, Jesse Berger, a correctional officer of nearly 30 years, was stabbed 5 times with 2 10-inch shanks. And if you don't know what a shank is, it's a very crude and painful weapon. It's a knife that's sharpened enough to inflict damage, but very bad damage and very unpleasant. Jesse still suffers a lot of emotional damage, and that's something that'll never go away. But luckily, he's still alive. I hope we're able to say that after a $3.5 million cut to the Department of Corrections, because the only thing they have left to cut is staff. We have to feed the inmates. We have to house them. There's no more room for cutting to the Department of Corrections, especially when you consider now our Department of Corrections is our only mental health institution in the state. The only one that really takes care of these people are now correctional officers, and they're not trained for that. They do the best they can, but if we keep cutting their numbers, I'm hoping I'm not standing up here in a month from now or a week from now or even in 10 years from now saying we're burying correctional officers and we're burying inmates over money. Thank you, Mr. President.